Welcome to the live premiere. I wanted to make it into this sort of format and this style so people can rewatch and replay the live chat and people can share their thoughts within the live premiere and on whether or not they think this game is going to be happening for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3. So this is probably going to be a longer video. I wanted to put some time into it. I found out some other things that I did not know about originally when it comes to new releases and things like that for the future of 2026. And I wanted to share my thoughts and predictions and talk about the Nicktoons titles and what we could possibly see for this year and what I think is going to happen. The new year has arrived. Nicktoons Multiverses is currently in a state of chaos, and we have so much already going on, if you can believe it. We have Avatar Legends, the fighting game, looming over summer 2026. The silence surrounding Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny DLC is just getting louder and louder by the day because we haven't heard anything as far as the updates. We're getting ready to head into March in just a matter of days. Everyone is asking the same question: when is Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 actually happening? While most fans are hoping for a surprise drop this year, I'm looking at the data today for this video, and I'm going to have timestamps listed for everyone who wants to skip portions, and whatever part that you want to listen to, you can be able to go straight to that portion right after the end of the video. You can share your live thoughts into the live chat that's going on right now. And then if you have some predictions of characters that you're looking for, you can share your thoughts and release predictions in the comment section if you like. So I'm looking at the data and looking at what we have now and what we already have. I'm thinking a 2027 release could be ideal for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3. Now today I'm going to be diving into roster predictions, changes, and the new Avatar fighting game if you haven't heard of it, and why we might be waiting longer than you think for the next big brawl, which is NASB 3. So the one thing that I want to just get started with and just open up the menu here, which I'm going to have displayed throughout the video. I'm just going to open the character selection menu. I might swap over different characters and the different modes and talk about different things. But the one thing I want to just get out there right quick is that I haven't seen enough people, if not anyone, I haven't seen anyone talking about the new Avatar game, because it's as if people forget and forgot that that game is something real. It's something that's confirmed. It's not some rumor. It's not some sort of kind of potential leak. It's something that's already happening. We're heading into the Avatar official fighting game that's coming out this summer. So this first portion of this video, I'm going to be talking about why now is too soon for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 and for my 2027 predictions of the potential possibility that we could probably see it get announced in for next year, but I don't think it's probably going to be something that's going to be an ideal fit for a release considering we got the Avatar fighting game coming out this summer. Some people haven't been talking about it. I haven't seen anyone mentioning it. This is our fighting game of the year, and that's what I'm going to be talking about and I'm going to be getting into right now. So I would love to see this game happen now, and even Timmy Turner finally joining the brawl for this roster. But we have to look at the summer 2026 calendar. Avatar Legends, the fighting game, isn't just a rumor anymore. It's a confirmed launch. It's a confirmed release. We just saw Toph's character trailer on February 13th, and she looks like one of the best characters already. There's videos out there talking about how broken she is. We haven't even seen what the rest of the roster looks like. Not to mention, while the game launches in summer 2026 with a base roster of 12 characters, come to find out from doing some digging, Aang, Korra, Zuko, Katara, Toph, Sokka, and Azula are already locked in. So this is our fighting game for the year. And just to get into a little bit more, the developers of this game, the developers at Gameplay Group International have stated that the roster will expand post-launch. So the 12 base characters that we're getting to kick off the game's release, it's not going to stop there. With this release window, Nickelodeon and Game Mill are not gonna release Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3. At least that's what I think now at this point, because it wouldn't make sense for them to release All-Star Brawl 3 at the same time and compete against themselves. And I'm thinking about it from a business perspective. I talked about this on the stream a little bit a few days ago, but I wanted to do it in this format so people get a chance to watch and listen in. So I'm looking at it and thinking about it from a business perspective, because if it just so happens to release, it will hurt any sales and momentum Avatar, the Avatar fighting game can get. When I know most out there will easily play Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 over the Avatar game in a heartbeat. It'll be dropped quickly and left in the dust. I'd rather have them release Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 when it's polished and when it's ready to go. The cycle is already broken based on the news we got. We've already been waiting for quite some time. Even from the previous year, some people thought we were going to get, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 announced, like it was going to come out already. And for me, being open and honest, I thought we were going to see something like Nickelodeon Kart Racers coming up with a Nickelodeon Kart Racers 4, or maybe some other Nickelodeon crossover, but we already gotten that with Dice of Destiny. I'm going to be talking about that as well, because that's our new crossover. So if you want to find out more about what I'm going to get into from what I found out and discovered from this Avatar game, and then you guys are going to probably be hearing me talk about this quite often, because this is our fighting game. That's how important it is and much of a big deal it is. It's a fighting game, and it's their next ideal title to move forward for the future. So I'm going to drop the link in the description for you guys to check out the different key features of this Avatar fighting game. And I'll just say this now, I'm not getting the game. I'm not buying the Avatar fighting game, because I'm going to be busy playing other games. I do wish, in my personal preference, I do wish it was a platform fighter, but I don't play too many 2D fighting games nowadays, because I'm juggling so many different games on the channel and things like that. So it looks fun to play. I don't think I'm going to be making the purchase when it comes to the Avatar fighting game. It looks fun to play, but I don't think I would really be too much locked in, invested into playing that one game and trying to practice the combos and things like that, when you got to be fully engaged with knowing what you're doing, because any sort of mistake, somebody can punish you and just go crazy on you with a non-stop combo. It's just that kind of game. So I'm gonna have the link to the Avatar Legends fighting game for you guys to check out more information about this game, because the one thing that I found out that I haven't seen anyone mention or tell me when it comes to the Avatar fighting game, this game has a season model made DLC for post-launch content that's already planned and locked in. So outside of just characters like Aang and Korra that's already going to be in the game, and Azula that I mentioned, there's going to be other characters that's going to be in their plans. This is new evidence I found from just checking out this game's key features, and the developers also sharing more information about this game. I only heard of the DLC being confirmed, but this is available from the description if you guys want to check it out. But I think this now pushes the game further back in its chances because of this game coming out this year, and I believe this will be our fighting game for quite a while. Some key features I want to talk about that stood out to me real quick. Just like I already mentioned, 12 playable characters at launch, with many more released via season model. If you guys check this out, this wording: selectable support characters influence your fighting style and then grant special moves. It's not just going to be the support characters getting into the game. They already have mentioned that the support characters are going to be able to have a chance in the near future to become playable characters. So therefore, when you think about it, that base roster is going to get bigger, and the roster is going to be able to expand because they're going to have more characters playing. The support characters, as they mentioned, they don't disqualify a character's chances of becoming playable because their character model is already going to be there. So they also mentioned how there are going to be additional features and mechanics that'll be announced soon. So I want to just start getting into the support characters, and we're just so focused on the Avatar characters on the screen because we're going to probably end up seeing characters like Iroh get into the roster later on. So a little bit that I want to talk about for support characters: the developers confirmed on their official Discord that being a support doesn't 100% lock a character out of becoming playable later, but it does mean that it's going to be a busy launch window for them. So support characters like Iroh that you guys can see on the screen, Suki, and other characters are the top candidates for Season 2, Season 3, Season 4. It goes on and on for DLC. because they aren't locked out. These support characters are the priority and could be the main focus of a season 2 and 3 pass. It's much faster to turn a support character into a playable character than to build one from scratch. So this could actually impact the chances of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3's future launch because of these plans, as it would hurt the game's momentum. That's what I wanted to talk about today. And the developers of the Gameplay Group International, they're not just releasing the game and walking away. That's something else that I want to bring to the table. They're building a roster for this title, and you see what happened to Nickelodeon Kart Racers and some of these other games, and I hate to bring it up. They come out with these games and they just leave them for dead. Unrelated, DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing is one of the titles. We've been having these games come out and they just get left in the dust and they move on too quickly. They keep starting over. See what happened with this game? We were supposed to have more than just Mr. Krabs, Zuko, Rocksteady, and Iroh in that order. From their launch windows, from the release or post-launch, we were supposed to have so much more beyond Iroh. See what happened? Plans change, things change, as they say, but it's been a continuous problem. But I don't think that's going to be the case when it comes to this Avatar fighting game. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm making a big deal about this title, because I don't see anybody talking about that. And when it comes to this game and its importance, with all those different characters that's still missing and just a small roster with 12 characters, it's just going to get bigger over time. And there's no way they're going to get everything out within 2026 when it's coming out in the summer. So some other things that I want to just talk about and mention. The one thing from just the wording when they talk about the things that's coming out for this game and many more, the wording reminds me of this game called Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, because they have many more expected for new characters. So that tells me this game is just going to get more and more and more. It's going to get bigger. So it has the same exact wording as Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, with the same model, the season model language, to bridge the gap between Sega and Nickelodeon by labeling it Avatar Legends instead of just using The Last Airbender. They're opening the floodgates for the entire franchise, from Korra all the way through Avatar, from the OG original characters, with Avatar, with Aang being the OG original Avatar, and Korra, the Korra, Legend of Korra, things like that. They got to get all the characters from Korra's world, from the Legend of Korra, and then going all the way back and dishing out different characters from the original Avatar: The Last Airbender series. See, it's just going to be so much more going on with this game. It leaves no room for other sequels to compete. Because if Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 was to magically come out this year, it's just not going to really be able to benefit them well. And I think this game just needs to come out at a later date. It's not just about Avatar, and I want to just start bringing out other games and other factors. Dice of Destiny. Nicktoons Dice of Destiny was the reason why we have Timmy Turner from over a decade. He's the reason why we got him back. We got to see Jimmy and Timmy reunite all over again and recognize each other. They did a really good job with that game, and it's one of my personal favorite Nicktoons games. It's honestly my favorite Nicktoons game that I played. So we have the Dice of Destiny factor for this portion. The Nicktoons Dice of Destiny problem. This game dropped in late September 2025 from the 30th, September 30th from 2025. And it's supposed to be the next chapter for the crossover universe. We got characters like Jimmy Neutron, Jenny Wakeman that's in the game to really be able to talk to each other. Danny Phantom and SpongeBob. We got the original original Nicktoons squad. The gang is all back together again. With some changes, not everybody's all the way around. But we also even have a Rugrats character with Susie Carmichael getting picked up, and they did something a little bit different by what? Outside of just the Fire Nation characters with the oversaturation of Fire Nation, they went and picked up someone like a waterbender with Katara. So that game is very well done. We got all types of different characters that's part of this journey. So I want to start getting into this a little bit more. The Nicktoons Dice of Destiny game is the next chapter for the crossover universe, and here we are in February 2026, and the silence is deafening. No DLC news, no character tweets, teasers, nothing. And if they haven't even finished they haven't even finished supporting if they haven't even finished supporting their current RPG when we were already confirmed to get character DLC way back in October. That's when the official Twitter post came out with the announcement of character DLC. They're not even done supporting this game yet. Why would they announce a massive fighting game sequel right now, let alone this year, all things considered? They need to finish one wish before they start another, don't you think? We're getting ready for the month of March, so maybe we can hear something within the next few weeks sometime. I think when it comes to developing DLC for Dice of Destiny, it's a much bigger task. Because, that's what I'm going to bring up the stages. It's not just coming out with a character, it's a much bigger deal because we have character classes. The class type has to match up with whomever they choose, the move sets, voice lines, interactions with other heroes, and then the big one, the new fantasy worlds. These new worlds needs to get developed. No matter what show it is, it could be Rocco, it could be El Tigre. We could go on down to, Miracle City and things like that. Characters like Jenny Wakeman and Jimmy Neutron didn't even get their worlds represented, yet they're playable characters. Where's Vexus at? She didn't even show up in the game. She's not even a boss. She's not a villain. She's not part of the plans. She's not part of the Flame Fatale or anything like that. We got a lot of things that's missing. Stages containing 3 to 4 stages that they gotta add when you play. If you guys play Dice of Destiny, you guys know what I'm talking about. You play these stages and they have multiple stages, and then it leads into a boss before you cross over into the next world, because you need that portal key to really be able to open up the next world. So they got the quest, you need enemy types and bosses as well. This is a lot to get through just for one new character to join Dice of Destiny, and we still don't have information when it comes to an update. This game is an RPG, so I'm not expecting to see a huge roster, but it deserves more support. It's one of my favorite Nicktoons games. So we got Avatar that we just finished talking about. That's already a fighting game within its own, already scheduled for this summer, and we're still not done with DLC. We haven't even gotten anything for Dice of Destiny yet. Now, I want to get into the 2027 ordeal. By pushing the announcement to late 2026 to release in 2027, we don't even know. Maybe Avatar, that's the big question. Maybe Avatar is going to have a little bit of a longer lifespan. Especially all things considered, they're not going to have enough time to get all those characters in, and then those support characters are also going to become playable later on in the future. So if they don't get Iroh in the base roster and things like that, he's going to show up later on. Ty Lee and other characters could show up. And then thinking about outside of Aang's world, Amon could come up, can show up. All those different characters can join. Even some of the characters that were playable from Avatar Quest for Balance, they could become playable characters too. They have to get through all those characters. So I think that Avatar game is gonna be long lasting. And then it has crossplay, everything like that has to come out. So 2027 for my prediction. By pushing the announcement to late 2026 and then have it released in 2027, if it does, Game Mill gives Avatar Legends or Avatar the Fighting Game, it's just a working title. It's not an official title. Well, the official title or official name of that title that's coming out this summer. They'll give Avatar Legends its time to shine, and it allows the Dice of Destiny DLC to breathe. 2027 will mark the 4-year anniversary of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, the perfect time for an overhaul of the roster and all these different characters and changes that we need. Characters that people might want to see cut from the roster, but we don't need any cuts. I'm going to be talking about that as well. The 4-year anniversary is the perfect time for them to really be able to have enough time to really put all these things together and bring out these characters. Releasing it this year wouldn't be ideal, and it'll just conflict with Nickelodeon's plans for Avatar. And I almost forgot to mention something. I almost forgot to mention another game that still needs to launch this year. Anybody remember Speedrunners? Speedrunners has to come out to consoles. It has to launch on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch. These are all officially scheduled for 2026. We gotta get that Speedrunners title coming out And we already are going to be dealing with all these other games with another different title that's going to be in the way. It's going to affect it, the hype, the sales, and the momentum. So I just think 2027 could be the year it gets announced and maybe a possible release, but we already got something already in the books. Already in the books with Avatar, and Dice of Destiny still needs to get done, and they got all that going on with speedrunners. So there's 3 different factors that I wanted to talk about for today, but I'm going to get into some things that I want to talk about for the game. Let's start talking about the future of this title. The roster redemption. Take a look at the characters. And I'm sure quite some people out there are not happy with this roster. Some people didn't even buy this game because they made cuts like Toph, Lincoln Loud, Helga was cut, Arnold didn't even make it in. Gerald's one of my favorite characters to play as, along with Ember and many others. We got to see some of the characters that we wanted to see. So we're going to start getting into the roster and start talking about the future for this portion. For this final portion of the premiere for this video. First off, if we see a new game in the future, we need everyone back from the first game that was cut. Just seeing all these different characters, you can already see that it's lacking. It's nice to see Raphael and Donatello. Let's get into it. If this game was to come out, whether it's this year or get revealed for next year with an announcement for a release or a launch, a potential launch, we need everyone back from the first game that were cut from Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. This game had 11 cuts and 11 new characters to take their spots. Returning veterans like Leonardo and Mikey, Shredder, Cat Dog, Sandy Cheese. It's still crazy how Sandy is not even in this game, and she's a full-on fighter. Toph, Lincoln Loud, Helga, Ablina from Real Monsters. She was the only Real Monsters rep that we had. Powder Toast Man is gone. Ren and Stimpy by themselves to represent. And then Hugh Neutron. He's in this game, but he's not a playable character. Hugh Neutron is an NPC, so he's not a playable character. He's part of the story. He's a merchant that gives you different perks throughout your roguelike campaign run. So it'd be awesome to see them back. Let's bring back all 11 characters that were cut. And something else I want to bring up. It's going back to Donatello and Raphael. April O'Neil was the only one from the original TMNT group to stay in the base roster for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Now, for this title, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, the new pets can also return. Let's get Azula. Let's go through the new characters real quick. All the new characters that got in for the new reps. I had Squidward and Plankton in my wish list, LT Gregor and more. The NASB 2 characters can rejoin this new title if we get one. Squidward Tentacles, Jimmy Neutron. We got them all in here. We got LT Gray. Plankton that we already just went through. Donatello and Raphael. Let's move on. Ember, Azula. We got Gerald and Grandma Gertie. She's still so much fun to play. I know most people didn't want her in the game. But she's powerful. She's a real fighter. And they really did amazing with putting their moveset together. But we need Arnold. We're going to get into those new reps too. And then the other new rep that I almost left out. The Angry Beavers. The classic duo, Angry Beavers. And I believe they got replaced. I think they took the place of Cat Dog. Maybe some people might disagree, but I'm not sure what happened. How these decisions were made when this game is supposed to be bigger and better than ever. Now, Season 1 DLC, we had Mr. Krabs for post-launch. I'm still disappointed. Season 1 DLC, we had Mr. Krabs, Zuko, Rocksteady, and Iroh, who I just didn't expect. New shows and characters for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 that I'm going to get into now. Who could join next? So we got everybody back from the first one, and we got all the new reps and the characters, all the original characters from the first game, and we got everybody back included from Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 plus the DLC. Let's start talking about new shows and characters for this brand new game if we get one. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 was doubling down on the big three franchises was SpongeBob, Avatar, and TMNT. Not to mention the Fire Nation. We didn't really need an abundance of Fire Nation characters getting in. I think I would have been fine with Zuko, my personal opinion. I would have been fine with Zuko and Azula getting into this game. Iroh could come out later. He's not priority. I wouldn't went after someone else. Bebop, Bebop being without Rocksteady is just a little weird. It's so different. That's a duo. So I would have definitely had Bebop and Rocksteady together as a playable duo. You could switch between the characters, between Dagon and Norbert. They could have did something of a similar light with Bebop and Rocksteady. It's just a little odd. And I think Mr. Krabs is the best DLC pick. He was also in my wish list, and him being the most unique pick because not only he's a fan favorite and most requested character, not even just for me. He was a background character. He was stuck in the background as you can already see it right there in the Bun Wrestling ring. He was a background character and he was still able to become playable. So that brought the new hope of the cut characters being able to return in the future, like Lincoln Loud, for example, who's trapped in the castle. In the background, he's stuck in the castle, and I'm still surprised he got cut along with some others. But that Mr. Krabs gave new life and new hope to cut characters, and even characters like additional original veterans like Helga, as you can see from the City Aquarium. She was a cut character as well, as I mentioned. So new shows that they can bring out outside of just doubling down on just SpongeBob, Avatar, and Ninja Turtles, the developers need to branch out. They need to branch out and bring out other shows, other fan favorites. We got fan favorites like El Tigre. We need to branch out. We got to get more shows that people want to see instead of just banking on the same 3 shows just crowding the roster, and it ruins the shots and it ruins the chances of other shows that fans out there want to see from the community to join in. And we're going to get into them right now. They need to branch out to the Forgotten era. For Timmy Turner, Rudy Subudi, and El Tigre, deep cut characters. Let's name some shows: Rocket Power, Action League, Kablam, which I like. The X's, which I just finished playing. I just got finished playing at Nicktoons Attack of the Toy Box that I enjoyed. They had Tuesday X as a master model. How come they're not getting considered for these titles? Making fiends like Vendetta for a playable character, Rudy and Snap for Chalk Zone, Mighty B's Bessie. Other additional duos can join in. You know, we got Angry Beavers, Daggett and Norbert, and Ren and Snoopy. How about Fanboy and Chum Chum, Robot and Monster, and even more new additions for the new wave of Nicktoons. Anybody want to see Squidina Star get in the game? The Casa Grandes can get into the game as well. Rock, Paper, Scissors, Monster High. I can visually see Draculaura as a playable character to get picked up. Maybe Midnights. It's a new show, but it'll be cool to see one of those characters get in. Maybe Hazel Wells could show up from Fairly Odd Parents' New Wish. Those are just a couple of shows that I wanted to mention. Several shows I want to mention from the Forgotten Era, old school, underrated shows like Rocket Power and so much more that I mentioned. But if you want to find out my full roster picks for a potential Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3, I already have a video linked towards the end of this premiere, and I'll also include my own story concept that I created of what they could do to bring together all of the different Nicktoons worlds. Vlad Plasmius can make his return and escape. If you guys played the campaign and completed it, check out these different files. If you guys played the campaign and completed it, Vlad Plasmius is stuck. He's stuck in the timeless start out. Vlad Plasmius can make his return as a playable character. I hope he also gets picked up, which I thought he originally was going to get in this game, but he didn't. From watching the reveal trailer, I got excited. Vlad Plasmius is playable. We're probably going to unlock him from completing the story. I'm jumping into the campaign first. I was just excited. He's part of the story in the campaign. He's stuck in the timeless start out, so he can make his escape with the help of other villains getting involved for other Nicktoons. Crane, Vasis, Mr. Crocker, and things like that, since we finally have a chance to get Timmy into another game per se. We got more. And the one thing I want to just say real quick to wrap this up, it's so much fun still playing this game with the single player. Sometimes I come on here just to mess around in the arcade. We got boss rush, we got all these different modes. Let's get some new modes, bring back the sports modes from the first game. I want to see more from this game for what it is, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. But I don't think this game is coming out this year. I just don't think it is. And I'm not saying I don't want it to happen. I want the game to have as much time as possible. So I'm going to wrap this up and just start just talking about what I want to see for this game if we get one, even if it's 2026 or 2027. Maybe somebody else is working on it. Maybe some other team is working on the game behind the scenes that we don't know about. But it just doesn't make sense for the game to come out when we already got Avatar that's going to be able to take the spotlight. This seems 2026 seems like the year of the Avatar. They not only join the Sonic Racing Cross Worlds later on in the year for playable DLC, it's already going to have its own fighting game. So let's get into, I want to just wrap this up and just share my final thoughts on Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 and the situation and the characters and things like that. I'm rooting for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 to be more than just a sequel. I want this game to be the final game. And I don't know how people are gonna take that in the live chat. How do you feel when I say that? I want Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 to be the final game. We've seen this cycle before, starting over from scratch, losing our favorite characters, and waiting years for DLC that should have been there on day one. We don't need a Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 4, 5, 6, 7, and all the other different titles. We don't have to keep on starting over and over and over. We need a platform fighting game that acts as a living, breathing Nicktoons library. Think about it. From the Golden Age legends, from like Chalk Zone, LT Grade, to the Forgotten Era, from the Spies of the Exes from that TV show, all the way to the new wave icons, all the way like the Transformers, Earthspark. They can add some of these characters later on. Since Nickelodeon owns Transformers, Earthspark, maybe they can show up. Somebody in the chat from last time, from when I was streaming it from a few days ago, brought up the Power Rangers Dino Thunder. We got all these different options. The roster potential is literally infinite when it comes to Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3. Look at all these characters on the screen. I got so excited to see this banner when it got leaked. With all these different characters. This is just one of my favorite designs seeing this. Outside of just the logo. Maybe we could see a third game. But we gotta get as many characters as possible. You just look at this kind of banner, you just get excited seeing all this amazing crossover with all these characters that it doesn't matter where you started watching these shows. It doesn't matter which era you grew up with or which Nicktoons show is your favorite. You're gonna be able to play the character that you want to play. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 needs to be that game to really be the final title for these characters to really be able to be brought together in an amazing story, and other characters can join in along the roster and join the battlefield as the future goes on. It can just go on and on and on with all these different shows. We have decades of history from the past to the present to build the ultimate multiverse with this game. It's time to stop hitting the reset button. Let's make Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 the definitive home for every Nicktoon ever made. This game could be it. Because if the multiverses is truly colliding, it shouldn't just be a crossover, it should be a legacy. This next game, whenever it happens, needs to be polished and ready to go so there's no rushed product. When we get games that launch too quickly, it leads to disappointment. I've seen it happen with multiple games in the past that were hyped up only to release unfinished, backlash from the community, refunds issued, and complete chaos erupts. I want Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 to be the best it can be. So I'm saying we don't need this game to come out this year. That's what I'm saying in this video. I'm saying we don't need Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 to come out this year and too fast when we already have our next fighting game confirmed in Avatar. Not even just that, several other projects that need to be complete for this year of 2026 that I just finished talking about, as well as post-launch content like Nicktoons, Dice of Destiny that we still don't have and that we still don't know anything about yet. And we still don't know who's going to join first, and we don't know however many characters that they're going to add. We don't know their plans when it comes to that title, but we know for sure that confirmed character DLC is on the way. It's real. Avatar is something real, and all things considered with that season model. There's a lot that's going on this year and this summer. It doesn't seem like an ideal fit to bring this title out to compete against Avatar when they're just going to be hurting themselves in the long run. I want Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 to have as much time as it needs. And just thinking about everything, just what all the things that I talked about and what I mentioned, I want to bring this up really quickly. The only different title that they can bring out, we got Avatar, the fighting game, or whichever it's going to be called, Avatar Legends, the fighting game, or the Avatar fighting game, which is its current working title. We got Avatar already out that exists, that's coming out sometime this summer. They can bring out something else outside of two different fighting games. This is what I was saying from before, from on the stream, when I was talking about it. In my honest opinion, in my prediction, I think we'll probably see a different Nicktoons game that could possibly be able to come out. Let's think of a dev team. I'll go with Bamtang. Bamtang hasn't come out with much of anything as of late. We had the Hot Wheels game from last year. We had DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing. Bamtang are the ones responsible behind the Nickelodeon Kart Racer series. So maybe Bamtang could be the ones to bring out and reboot a potential Nicktoons racing game. Maybe we can get a Nicktoons racing reboot. Maybe we could possibly see the Nickelodeon Kart Racers 4 that I was thinking about. I was thinking that we were probably going to get Nickelodeon Kart Racers 4 announced last year or in the year beforehand. I've been waiting to see that game, but I don't know what they're going to be up to this year. Maybe they might end up going back to Nicktoons and reviving. Because Nickelodeon Kart Racers, the Nickelodeon Kart Racers series has 3 games. And I'm not talking about Nicktoons Racing. I'm not talking about that game. I haven't played it. I don't know if people would consider that part of the kart racing series, because we had Nickelodeon Kart Racers 1 without the 1. The first game, we had the first Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2. And then we had Slime Speedway with Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. We got 3 games for that. Maybe we'll get a third game later on in the next year for this title. And that's the only I think that little bit of the speck of a hope of a potential Nicktoons game that could possibly get announced is if Bamtang brings back the Nickelodeon Kart Racer series and revives it, or maybe turns it into a reboot. Maybe they remake it, who knows? Maybe they'll have a different title. We don't know what's going to happen, but considering the fact that we had that DreamWorks game come out, maybe they might end up going back and bringing that out this year. They don't do a really good job of communicating, so we never really know what they're cooking up. As far as advertising their games and things like that, we just never know what's going on, and if these games are going to have a future when it comes to post-launch content, updates, patches, and more, because they barely did anything when it comes to Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. They didn't really do anything. All they did was separate the DLC from the Turbo Pack and make it sold separately for purchase if you didn't buy the Turbo Edition for that title, and that was it. And they did the same thing with DreamWorks with the Rally Edition. So we don't know. Maybe that's the only dev team I can really think of as far as bringing out another Nickelodeon title this year. But we already got our crossover with Dice of Destiny, and then we got a fighting game. Those are already going to be 2 key factors. Plus, they have to still finish taking care of their projects and making sure these games come out successfully on other platforms, on like the consoles outside of the Steam or PC. What do you want to see in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3? Which characters would you like to see join the roster? When and if this game happens. Maybe you're looking for a specific show. Share your thoughts in the live chat in the comments with your predictions. I just genuinely think this game should wait to come out with all things considered, and not even just with all the things I mentioned with those titles and the updates and things that's not finished and things that still needs to be worked on and things that need to launch for the launch schedule for the 2026 calendar. We already got 2 other fighting games coming out in Marvel Tokon and Invisible Versus. Maybe that's probably going to be something that other people are going to be playing. It just depends on what kind of games you guys like to play, but that's already additional competition in the mix. And then that Avatar game is coming out. But I put so much emphasis on Avatar and putting it, shoving it down people's throats. I didn't want to make it seem like that, but I wanted to make it make sense, connect the dots. Would you launch Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 when you already have a summer title scheduled with a different fighting game that's already going to have a significant amount of post-launch content? It's crossplay, and they still didn't even bring out all the characters to spotlight and showcase. All we got recently was Toph, and we had that playable beta. I didn't play the beta, so I don't know if it's still going on. Maybe they're doing other things and additional announcements, but we got to get through these games first. They got to get finished with these games first. We got to make it through these games before we move on and jump the gun too quickly for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3. It's just not a good idea, and I just wanted to make it make sense, do the research while also putting in the additional predictions of what I think is going to happen. This game can wait. It can have more time to cook, so we don't bring it out too early, and then it's just going to be an incomplete product. It's going to be unfinished. It's going to be glitchy, and people are going to want their money back. And then they're just going to be going crazy, going right after the game, shutting it down, and just wanting their refunds. It's just going to be a complete mess. We want this game to be the best. And just like I finished saying, just to close this out, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3, whenever it comes out, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not looking to be right. This game needs to be the final game. We don't need any more games coming out like this for to keep on going on and starting over. NASB 3 can be the final ultimate edition that we need for the best crossover with all the Nicktoons characters that we grew up from the 90s, from the past to the present. All the potential is there. They can just have more time to work on this game. They can let all these other games be able to breathe and be able to have their due. And then once they start to die out and things like that, and settle where they don't really end up bringing out more content and they discontinue content and things like that, they can bring out other stuff for other characters to really be able to get the characters that people want to see. And whoever they can't get right away, they can go after the characters that are much easier for them. So maybe they might have some trouble getting Miko from glitch text, for an example. They could get her added later for DLC. She's gonna sell really quickly. I will have her come out as DLC. If I can't get her to join as a base roster character, I will have her join as a DLC character, and you already are gonna be in the money with the DLC, because that's another iconic top request character. That's how you do it. And it's just going to continue to get sales. They can get Miko. They can add some of the other classic characters. Let's stop relying on the same shows to carry us to the promised land. We got to definitely be able to use all these different characters that people want to see. Sure, it's not going to be a character that everybody's going to want to see, but as long as it's getting continuous content and continuous support, people are going to continue to play and stay excited. We got to keep people engaged. We got to keep people invested in the game instead of just going ghost for a few months and saying something every time a new character comes out. We gotta really get the communication down pat. The communication needs to be better when they come out with these titles, because that's what went wrong with these games with some of the DLC. Let's bring it up one more time. Let's bring it out. That's what happened with some of these characters. With Iroh, it was a whole different situation when it comes to Iroh. He came out months early. I think he was out a month early or 2 months early. I forgot. But when it comes to, I'll use Mr. Krabs and Zuko, for example. Zuko was it took a little while. We didn't even know if they were going to come out. but we didn't know when they were going to come out until it got leaked from the Nintendo eShop. But every time a new character would come out, they would bring out the character and then the communication goes away. And then we will wait for a while, and then another character would come out, and then the communication goes down. It would get quiet all over again. They have to be a little bit better when it comes to that, because people are not gonna want to wait around, and they'll move on. And I said this before, we gotta get better communication with these titles so people can stay invested. Sure, we got the deal, the Discord and things like that. If they come out with these other titles, we need a Discord, a dedicated Discord, and a dedicated page to find out what's happening. And I'm going to go ahead and take the shot. We didn't even really get that many updates from the main Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl page when this game came out. We didn't. We didn't get many updates from the main Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl All-Star Brawl 2 Twitter page. We didn't. We were getting it from a completely different Twitter page in the dev team. We need to be better with communication. I hope that they do that whenever the next game come out. If it does come out this year or whenever it does, maybe it might take longer. Maybe it probably won't end up coming out in 2027. Maybe Avatar is probably going to go on longer than expected with all that support, because everybody's ready to play as Toph, and who knows who else is going to get in that game. But we need better communication for these kind of titles so people can stay invested and they're not going to be lost in the shuffle and going to be in the dark for so long. They're only going to wait for so long, just for a short period of time before they decide to play something else. So that's my honest predictions and just everything I wanted to bring to the table today for this video. And I think it probably dragged on, but I'm going to have the timestamps listed for everybody to go to the portions that you want to listen to. You don't have to watch the full video, but you guys should probably be able to see it in a few seconds. I'm going to have my story concept and then my full roster for this game for the videos I made already beforehand. My full roster picks for NASB 3 and my story concept for a new story mode of what they can do for a new title. I don't know if we're gonna get this game, and I just seriously don't think it's coming out this year. I don't think it's gonna even get revealed, but they can do something a little bit different. Just to wrap up, they can probably have it get revealed this year and then have it come out sometime next year. I seen it happen with SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake. SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake got revealed around December, if I'm not mistaken. SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake got revealed in December, and then it had an early New Year release. I think it ended up coming out sometime in January. They could do something like that for this game, but they'll have to push it back. So I would rather have the game come out the next fall of 2027 if they do bring it out. And then I think that'll probably be a safer window, so the devs have more time to work on it. But we don't know what else is being cooked up. We don't know if they're going to end up giving more support for Avatar. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I genuinely think this game is not coming out this year, and I don't think it's probably going to be out for quite some time.